Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to our Thursday night edition. I had work stuff I had to deal with yesterday. I had a call with Japan, so I had to move our show. But other than that,
How is that? Calls with Japan.
they're good.
Okay.
They are of course we have to do them at 7 p.m., which is like 8 a.m. their time, or 8:30 a.m. But it's fine. Everybody speaks pretty clear English. And then we've got a guy who works for us who is like the liaison between the Japan company and the American company, and he speaks fluent Japanese and fluent English. Obviously, he's an American guy, and so when there's like work, when there's trouble with the communication, like it's just not coming across or it's not being understood, he'll jump in and they'll talk to him in Japanese, and then he'll translate it to us or vice versa, but mostly everybody understands and speaks English. So it's actually a pretty kind of a cool thing, but it's all business,
Yeah.
Okay. What have you been up to?
Just, we had the cruise last week and everything, so much stuff going on. And there are bunches of little odd things, and it's that stuff that's just like the camel, and the straw and all that. And we're okay. It's just a, go through the mire of the day, and so, that's like, so I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining, because I'm not, but I'm a little draggy right now, through all the mundane, the monotony, who's doing this, who's doing what, and all that. So, that's what's going on. Hey, I got to text Donna. Has anybody seen or heard from Donna? Just curious, but hey, everybody. Hey, Cynthia. Hey, baby doll. And hey, Deborah, how are you? Plus anybody else lurking out there that I can't see. Howdy.
That we don't know is out there. I can appreciate the sort of draggy feeling, I'm not, we were just talking before we came on about not sleeping well and whatnot, and our ailments and all our stuff. So, I've got this sciatic thing going on, so it wakes me up in the middle of the night. So I'm kind of sluggish tonight. So sorry, guys. Cynthia says Donna's fine.
Okay. I will reach out to her, because I just hadn't seen her in a while, and I was worried.
Deborah's saying it's a quiet, rainy evening in Kansas. So
it's just Florida here, It
was thundering over my end today.
We had a little bit of that, but not much. We had a pretty big storm yesterday. And, so.
We didn't have that. We didn't have a big storm. It rained a little, but it wasn't like that monsoon rain you get. You know what I mean? Like where it just all of a sudden comes down in torrents. It was just rainy.
Gotcha.
But,
gotcha. Yeah. Well, Cynthia, Deborah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You talked to her again until I was asking about her. But my problem is there are people I want to call and reach out and touch. My brain short circuits within 20 minutes of having that conversation. And by the time I just sit down and rest, the next day, boop, it's not that people are out of my head. It is. It's like my memory short circuiting or something, I'm doing it with my kids and everybody, So.
I wind up getting wrapped up in like the day-to-day stuff. And when I remember I need to reach out and make the call, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning or like 10:30 at night, and it's like, and so you tell yourself, I got to remember, like I just said to Bruce today, I've worked with a guy, and we worked together as a management team for a while, and he called me, a couple of months ago to tell me that he and his wife are going to have a baby. And I said to Bruce, "Oh, I got to reach out to so and so, find out how things are going, right? Because I haven't talked to him."
Right.
And sure shoot, it's 7:30 p.m., 7:35, and did I reach out to him today? No. Yeah. And now I'm just remembering that I even said to Bruce, "Oh, I got to reach out to him and see how, see how the baby's, see how his wife is doing, see how the baby's coming along."
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, no, it is. And I don't know if that's with the energy that's going on. Cynthia, I hear you. She's like, she remembers at midnight. Yeah, the last time that they don't really want to hear from you at their 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Hi, I was thinking about you. Good. Keep thinking. Click,
I guess.
But, it is. Do you think some of that, is it age, or is it the energy, that's feeling of disconnect right now that's going around? Because I know I'm not alone in it.
Well, I don't know that it's age, and here's why I say, for me anyway, and here's why I say it, because this is not new behavior for me.
Oh, okay.
This is pretty consistent over, my existence, but I would say it's pretty consistent since I became a responsible adult. How about that? Holding down a job, taking care of kids, doing all that stuff, and then all of a sudden at the most inconvenient time, it's like, oh shit, I haven't talked to so-and-so in 6 months, or, oh my God, they texted me 3 weeks ago and I never responded, just stuff like that. But so for me, I don't know that it's age. I just think it's, I'm wrapped up in my own little world. And hi, Donna.
There's Donna.
Okay.
Hey, I'll just pop it in. I'm at the vet with Willow. Uh-oh. I'll catch the replay. Okay.
Ratted us
just
out.
Let us know if we need to say a prayer for you and Willow. Okay. I know you've been fighting the battle. So we love you, and just let us know what you need. Okay. Go take care of the dog.
Yeah. So Cynthia says she lost brain cells when she had babies. Yeah, I can appreciate that too. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think it is? Do you think it's age, or do you think it's just energy? The energy, I don't know. Right now, I'm tired right now. So but over the last couple of days, the energy was pretty
good.
Energetic, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right.
But today I'm tired, a little grumpy. So just trying to get it done. But I guess there's some transits happening today. I was looking it up because sometimes I wonder what's going on. Mercury's fixing to go into retrograde. Just so a lot of things gearing up. I don't know if it's the ether or not.
And with me, I think it's a little bit of a mixture of both, me and just so much going on. And then with that, it's that easy slide, like the energy's there to slide down. You know what I mean? And I'm not in my usual place to stay up. Does that make any sense at all? And like on the trip, we had a great time. We had an awesome time. But how many nights were we in bed by 9:30?
I was pretty much every night. I mean, you guys stayed up a lot later than me, but
only once or twice when Mr. Bruce and I went out carousing. But
I've been up at 0 dark 32.
Right,
5:36. Yeah. So 9 o'clock rolls around and I'm ready for bed because.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, Donna said please play for her, and Willow's got an upset stomach now. So they're at the vet. So, okay.
Willow. What does Cynthia say? She believes that part of it is age and then planets aligned or something.
Yeah.
Well, we just had this
and that's where I am. You know, I'm tired.
A lot of stuff going on this week, right? So,
yeah.
What was it? Sunday or Monday was just the solstice,
right?
There's like a bunch of crap going on today. Like,
yeah, no, you were talking and different things. I was looking.
Venus.
There's so many different planetary little things going on.
I'm saying that Venus.
And maybe as we left, so it was summer solstice. That was the longest day of the year, right? Or the shortest day?
Longest. Summer solstice was longest.
Okay, so this was, help me, which solstice was it?
Summer.
Okay, so it was summer. Okay. And then it goes into fall, right?
Yeah, the fall.
Winter solstice.
Yeah, but then we get the winter solstice. Yeah, but we get the fall equinox and then the winter solstice. So, but here's something interesting. They're saying today the sun is squaring Neptune.
Okay.
And it can bring mental fog, mixed signals, idealization, emotional sensitivity, and spiritual insight if you slow down. I don't know that I can move any slower than I am tonight. This transit asks you to distinguish intuition from wishful thinking. It's generally better to delay major commitments if things feel unclear. And then on top of that, we've got Venus and Saturn, which is affecting your long-term commitments, your mature relationships, your financial planning, making creative projects real, and building something with staying power. Boy, you want to talk about two completely polar opposite energies happening at the same time. What the heck?
Yeah. So maybe that's why we're all a little like, you know?
Yeah. Cynthia says she's been emotional for over a week. I haven't really been emotional, but today I'm very, very tired. So I don't know.
I've been a little emotional, I think, you know, where things hit me hard, and I got to take that second, you know, and mean it this way or whatnot, you know. Some people did mean it that way, you know. It's that I got to weigh it in and say that's on them, you know. So, but freaking planets.
Yeah, planets. I wish they would be still. No jokes at the. Yeah, I found myself today. Like I had a couple of meetings today, and you know, I found myself getting really irritated in these meetings, and I'm like, why is these meetings pissing me off so bad? Right. I'm like, and I don't, you know, I'm like, all right. You just came back from like 23 days of vacation. Take a deep breath. You don't like you're not even a week back, Brigitte. Let's not slide into that whole pissed off at the world at work.
Right. Yeah. So I was looking right now at, you know, today is when you go 6/25/2026. Today is a 23. And if you examine that, 2, relationships, everything else, 3, working with other people, creating things, doing things, but they come together to clash for that 5, you know?
Yeah.
Where 5 is a very volatile.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if people that are closer to a 5 timeline wise, okay, are not feeling it more, because again, it's always on the verge of conflict or creating something wonderful. It's not, there hasn't been any in between. And since today is a 23, you know, I brought it up to see what it means. Everything it says is what I said up front before I even hit the button. Trust your intuition while taking inspired action. Communicate your authentic truth. And we both know right now with some of the things I know, no, hell no. um, embrace change rather than resist it. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm going to embrace the change. This is it. New life, new different way. Things are going, but stay adaptable. Life is moving you where you need to be. Spiritual meaning of the 23 for today, you know? So, yeah.
I'm not a 5. I'm a 7. So
you're a 7? Okay.
So maybe that's why you and I are having. But, this whole year is we talk about it a lot. This whole year has been very kind of weird. Just the way, I don't know for you, but for me, moving through it has been different than past years.
Oh, most definitely. Especially with our move in the mix and everything else and everything that's happening. It's been crazy, but the year is a 10, a 1. So I would be surprised if there wasn't some shake up, some things got to end, new things got to begin. So when we start looking at I don't know why I started looking at the numerology of everything. Maybe that was spirit telling me, well, here's why you dingleberry. It's one of those things. And it says the challenge of a 23, restlessness, scattered energy, fear of commitment. I got a lot of that going with, not the Gillian. We're okay, everybody. Don't panic. Okay. We're okay. Why we're okay is only because she is so full of love and happy and kindness. Okay. Other than that, I've been, whatever. Overthinking instead of trusting. That would be, and again, just today, the next couple of days, energy around that. And then wanting freedom without responsibility. Yes.
That would be really nice. Right?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be great to just be like around 14 or 15 again and just,
I don't know. I just would like to go.
You want.
I would just like to go even now, staying at this age. All right, pull the plug. None of the bullshit before this matters. And we're just going to start over. Click. Hi, how you doing? I don't know if I could do 15 again. I'd probably wind up in jail.
Your 15 and my 15 were vastly different.
Yeah, probably.
Was like, I had no parental supervision from the time I was like 13 till now. And so for me, I also had no, up until I became a grown-up, I had no real accountability, right? I was a kid. So I did all the reckless shit that those bad teenagers that you want to keep your kids away from do.
Right.
I had a blast most of the time doing it. But, at the same time, there's stuff that comes with that. That
there's some baggage that attaches.
That you tend to sort of push back and say, well, yeah, all this stuff was so great, but
that's like about the time my anger issues started getting really up there, everything else. And I was finding out I could handle it different than other kids my age because of my size, and things like that. And I was working in a paint store. My dad had a paint company then, and we would wash and wax mobile homes and do the roofs. And I'm up and down ladders with, 10 gallons at a whack and stuff. I was in shape, man. So it's probably what kept me from doing some stupid stuff was the fear of going to hell.
Oh, yeah. Mine was the fear of going to jail, honestly. Mm-hmm. Mine was prison. Yours was hell. Mine was jail. Or having to deal with my dad.
Okay.
He may not have been around, but if he got called to the carpet, mm-hmm. I was dead. You may as well just dig me. So I straddled that line really, really well. That fine line of being out of control and just reckless enough to not,
right,
have the cops drag me home or anything,
right. That's where I was, and it was in a, man, you talk about schmooze, though. I could schmooze. The deans loved me. I was always in trouble, but it was always yes, sir, no, sir. And I would tell the truth, didn't lie about anything. Yep, you got me, whatnot. And they were like, okay. I think in between 11th and 12th grade year, I was suspended like 17, 18 times for fighting.
That was me my freshman year.
But I never threw the first punch. I was always finding somebody to take up for.
I aggravated the shit out of people to make sure that they came at me first, so that I could go ahead and just
exactly. Exactly. And that was, it was, again, nobody picked up on, Rob, where's all this anger coming from? What's happening? Okay. Go to the choir room and grab a, man, I got plowed in school one time. And they were, both deans were like, grab a chorus room. I was president of chorus. Go grab a practice room. You crash. I don't want to see you in class. We're marking you absent. Okay. I got on the bus and went home and never called my parents.
I would have, my dad, I went to high school in the same town that my dad grew up in. And so at the time, all the cops and all those people were people my dad grew up with, went to high school with, went to, and so I would mess up, or we'd be just walking down the street screwing around or whatever. And, they would say to me, don't you know what's going to happen to you if I have to call your dad? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And
you need me to call your dad? No, sir. I'm going on the way home. Look at that.
Yeah. Cynthia says she ran away from home. She knew her mom knew the judge and had her picked up. She made me spend the night in jail to teach me a lesson. All it did was piss me off. Yeah, I would have laid down and gone right to sleep. That was me. I was so okay. Something else I could throw in my parents' face later.
I dodged that jail bullet. I did all the time. Like getting picked up by the cops or getting brought home by the cops. That was the no cross line.
Yeah,
I would do anything. I mean, anything. But if I felt like I was going to get picked up by the cops, there was no way. No way I was ever doing it. Because the last thing I ever wanted to do was call my dad from the police station. I'd rather just stay in jail.
Yeah. Let him figure it out.
Yeah. I'd rather just do that. I'd rather just stay in jail. I don't want to call my dad and have him come get me. So.
Yep.
Deborah so she was a good kid. But her sister. See, and that was Deborah. My sister was the good sports sister, the choir sister, or the chorus girl. She was, she's my older sister. I was the bad one, man. I was the one.
I was the only one in the bad one. And when my dad became a preacher, then it made it worse. I had to outlive every stereotype there was about being the Baptist preacher's kid. One time I remember when my dad was the associate pastor of this church, one of my dearest friends at that time was a young man who wasn't any bigger than your pinky. He's like 6'2", all right? But he wasn't what we'd say in the South is he isn't any bigger than a poot in a whirlwind, But he was the preacher's kid. I was the associate pastor's kid. We got plowed before a youth rally. We thought we were hiding it, and we were at a bowling alley. I was picking up 8-pound balls and just rocking. I was a center for a school. Their starting varsity team, rocking him down the aisle. He drops the ball because he's using mine. We're laughing, we're cracking up. We get back to the church, and here I am out back in this youth center playing ping pong, where everybody goes, you know. And finally I looked around and said, hey, they ain't here. Nobody's here. And we went up to the front and started back into the church, and they're all on their hands and knees praying. I mean, the whole youth department, everybody.
Were they praying for you, Robbo?
Yes, they were. I walked out. I told Noel, I said, we're so screwed. We are so absolutely screwed. They're all praying for us. Oh, we got into some problems, you know. But honestly, the people that tried to make something of it pissed my dad and his dad off so much. They let us off easy just to piss them off. You know, so I was like, wow, we played that one really good.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, Mr. Taylor, sexy people. Cynthia, I never thought my angels did anything wrong. When they got older, they told me all kinds of stories. My past was a lot worse. I just laughed with them. You know, and that's the thing. My mom knew, because they wouldn't call my dad. All right. My mom knew all the time. She had to get off work. She's pissed off, everything else. But I got some of that from my dad. And I think that was another problem, because he was the same way. And no. Well, they knew a good bit of it. They didn't know everything, you know.
I remember the time that I told, well, my aunt, you met my aunt closest to my age. So again, I grew up in the same town that my dad and his siblings grew up in. But we had an ice cream truck called the Country Store. And it would go around. And I don't know if anybody has ever had a country store, but like the back half of it, you could step up into, and there was like a counter.
Okay.
Right? It was like a big kind of van type thing. And there was a counter there. So it looked like a country store. But you were not buying things. You weren't on the street buying things through a window. You were actually inside the vehicle. Well, where do you think? Did you think the guy who was driving the country store truck sold pot, right?
Right.
So you had to see. And my aunt bought from the same truck. But you had to see my mom's face, who I didn't live with, you know, but we were talking about something, you know, and you had to see her face when, you know, we told her, yeah, we would get our pot from the guy on the ice cream truck. And she was like, what? I'm like, oh, yeah. Guys thought we're buying, you know, I mean, people think we're just buying snow cones and,
yeah,
you know, but.
Meanwhile, you got the most laid back ice cream dude on the planet.
He did. He would drive around in his country store. So, you know, nickel bags or dime bags off the back of his country store. Hey, you know,
yeah.
But it was funny, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What about
Yeah, well, and Cynthia said ice cream trucks scare me, too much TV. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I would not let my children go unaccompanied even up to an ice cream truck. I would have to be standing in the yard where I could get to within 3 or 4 steps, you know, because you just don't know, you know. They're sitting there with the engine on and just reach down, scoop up one of those kids, and off they go, you know.
Back then, like, our parents didn't even know where we were. It was like, be home when the street lights come on. And in the summertime, that's like 9:00 at night.
Yeah.
So they have no idea where you are. You're gone. You get up, it's 9 a.m., you leave. You're gone all day, likely until dinner, because you probably didn't go back home for lunch. Because if you went back home for lunch, you wound up having something you had to do. Clean out the garage, basement, some shit, right? And so you stayed, you went for dinner, you ate dinner, and then you went back out for like a couple of 2-3 hours. You played kick the can, you mess around the neighborhood, whatever you were doing.
Yeah.
No idea. They had no idea where we were. No idea. I had a BMX bike. I rode all over my town, to parts of my town. I think I would, at 10, 11, 12 years old, no, man. I would never let my kids do what I did. But
no. And, and again, it's that thing of, okay, parenting just got different. And maybe we were the turn in parents that are a little too overprotective. I don't know. But I do remember, just like you're saying, I got left behind twice with that whole thing about, do you know where your kids are? My parents got halfway home from church and realized I was out back playing, so that, like, go outside. And the drink from the hose thing, real. And you only cranked that sucker up once while it was hot, And
I heard, and I get it, man. But it's so funny because, and Gillian cracks me up because she said the key is having older siblings. You're absolutely right, because because the age differences between you and your siblings are similar to the age differences, between me and Donna is 5 years, between me and Rob is 7, and between me and Deb was 8 or 9. So there was a huge gap. So by the time I hit my teens, they were all in college, out of the house, married, kids, whatever. And my dad he was done. He was just too tired. He just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
He just couldn't hack it anymore. Dealing with one more. Plus, I saw and learned how to do things better than they did. Because,
right.
Like my brother Rob got caught doing everything. Everything. He got caught. No matter what he tried to do, he always got caught. And I was like, nope, not me. I'm not getting caught. Because he would get his ass whipped. No. But so Gail, I get you, man. You learn from the older siblings. And then by the time they're gone, your parents are they're too tired. They've done it for 18 years and they're over it.
Yeah. And that just too much, that stuff, it's crazy. The world's different. And so what changed? We had, I don't care what anybody says, we had more common sense. There was something, or fear.
Social media, I think, the awareness. So, like, when we were kids, we always knew to stay away from the creepy guy's house or whatever, right? And stuff like that. We always knew
there was always one in every neighborhood.
But not the mean guy, the creepy guy.
Oh, okay.
But or like the weird lady, right? Like you didn't mess with them. The mean guy, you would just, run. You would draw straws so who would go on his lawn to get your ball, and then run like hell and hope he didn't see it. Right. But the weirdos, it was like, no, you just don't go. You don't mess with them.
Yeah.
And
I was fortunate. I had no weirdo like that in our neighborhood.
Oh, we did.
It was matter of fact, skateboarding was huge, and Bruce Walker, one of the big skateboarders of the 80s, 70s, and 80s, moved into our street. We test rode everything he had.
Right.
So it was on that end of it, our whole block was a safety zone. It would just be one of those things. So I never had to deal with that creepazoid factor,
Yeah, well, there were some creeps around town for us. So you just notice it. But we were always, I don't know about you, but like I always had my one best friend, right? We were always paired. We were never really by ourselves.
Right.
But the other thing is, I think, social media was a huge thing that sort of brought to light all the pedophilia, all the crazy people out there, the wackadoos, the fact that there could be 6 people on your block that would be happy to, or that was a serial killer or something, you know what I mean? Just the reality of things that we like. Our parents, I don't think they knew that there were people out there like that, but they certainly didn't believe that the guy next door was like that, or the guy across the street was like that.
I can see that. Even parents with their kids that were, torturing the frogs and the cats, and it kept growing and things. I knew somebody like that, but it was more as young adult, okay, right after I got married. And it all turned out to be just a huge, sad situation, but it was going down that path, you know? So, I think there were things we just, Billy, leave the cat alone, and now we would look back and go, Billy
might be a psychopath. He may be, it might be a problem there. But
he was good at kickball.
Yeah. We just I just think that it just was not, I don't want to use the word prevalent. Mm-hmm. I just don't think there was as much attention brought to it. And then all of a sudden you get into like the mid to late 80s, early 90s, and suddenly kids are getting kidnapped left, right, and center, or they're getting dragged into alleys and getting killed.
Or it's not getting covered up as much, something.
Right. And that's what I think is happening. And suddenly parents were like, oh shit. And so here's me and you, and now we're like, oh, well, it's not safe to let this out anymore, because you never know who's in the houses, It used to be that, I think our parents were pretty confident that the people on the block were looking out for you, Yes. I am not like, I knew on this street, because my boys had a lot of friends. Mm-hmm. I knew that those parents were looking out.
Right.
But I don't think the kids the people without kids that my kids or the other kids on the block didn't play with were out looking.
Right.
For what was going on.
Right.
But I agree with you, Cynthia. It has always been there.
Right.
I just think there's just
we're learning about it more.
Yeah, we just hear about it more and more and more.
Back in our day, if Walter Cronkite said it, that was it. It was true. Right. We never even, everybody thought it was the news. They didn't think about, well, they're trying to beat ratings and all that stuff. And then they caught Dan, I think it was Dan Rather from NBC or somebody, in their first lie where they made something up. And oh my God, you would have thought the world was going to hell in a handbasket. Mm-hmm. But
we also didn't have those 24-hour news cycles.
Right.
We had like 3 channels, ABC, NBC, and CBS. They put the news on at 5 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. and that was it, right? Yeah. There wasn't, unless some major catastrophic thing happened, and they would we interrupt this program to tell you about whatever,
right.
But I think nowadays it just, and I think that, and people think I'm crazy when I talk like this, but I think that there also, the reason why there is such a huge, more crazy people, more people with pedophilia is this is sort of conspiracy theorist, but they poison our food, they poison our water, it addles our brain. These people are growing up eating this toxic food and drinking this toxic water, and there is nothing, literally not a thing we can do to not put this stuff in our body, because there is nowhere to access it that these things don't exist. And I think that there's just, so like our kids were fed that, we were fed that, and I think, you know, it kind of alters your genetic sequences and your DNA.
Yeah. And I remember, you know, at one point, when to go along with what you're saying, again, being the age difference between you and I, you know, my kids, I was 19 years old when I had my first kid, and 20. So I started and got into police work at 20 years old. So, you know, I was hearing stuff a lot earlier than another bunch of, you know, early 20-year-olds were. My partner was 35. I had to grow up super fast. Right. And I learned a lot of stuff. And one of the things I started hearing about, especially from the farmers up where I used to work, was, yeah, the reason boys like you are getting so big is because all the growth hormones are putting in the food. It's not natural for a daddy to fear his 17-year-old kid who towers over him, you know? And I was like, you know what? There might be some truth to that.
I truly believe that, you know, and there were dyes and preservatives and shit put in our food, which is why our kids are on the spectrum. And when I say our, I mean our generation. But our kids are on the spectrum, or they have ADHD, or, you know, they've got some sort of mental instability or whatever, because we were eating this stuff and, you know, passing it along to our children. So I know it sounds a little conspiracy theorist, but I truly believe that, you know, we are just being from the inside out, and there's no getting away from it.
Well, if I matured this way, you know, the girls were maturing in a complete different way. And I know my mom was like petrified. She's like, you know, where are they getting these at? You know, you know, she was like, she had to wait till she was pregnant or whatnot to get hers. But then I saw my grandma and I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I think it's a little more hereditary than you want to believe. But it, you know, things are decidedly different. I don't know how much, you know, people that want to doubt evolution, you know, okay, the human race is evolving right in front of our own eyes and we don't even realize it. And I don't mean this in a racist way, but you're going to know exactly what I'm saying. We have a complete different spectrum of mixes of people, because we closed. There's no gap from the oceans anymore.
Right. You have more access to mix.
You know, and I'm looking at this. I was looking at one ad, and I'm like, you know, you would not have seen one or two of these people, not because it didn't. It you know, it was racist. It was. They didn't exist.
Yeah, there was the access was not. It was.
Yeah, and it was so. But so now. Yeah, it's a melting pot. The whole Earth's a melting pot. And I think it has, a lot of this has things to do with it. And I believe personally, like we talked about with the whole Walter Cronkite thing, once we had no one we could trust. We don't know what information is true, what information isn't true. So it's that kind of like, you know, I used to be able to always lean and get the truth. You know what? That's what he said, but I'll hear it on the news. All right. And now you don't know what agenda anybody's got, depending on who you listen to. So our brains are getting all fuddled up. And I'm going back to my anarchist ways. You know, I feel like it's time for anarchy. I feel like it's time
to bomb the whole place and start over.
You know, start over because, you know, I don't feel like I have taxation with representation. Businesses do, but nobody asks my opinion. We don't vote, and then our senator carries that out. You know, they vote for whatever they want. Senator should be wealthier than any of his constituents that are blue collar, and it was never meant to be. And you know, it just don't get me started. But I do believe this has a lot to do with it. Of we're also moving into you worry about yours, I'll worry about mine.
Right.
And we didn't used to be that way.
The community doesn't, that I mean, I know it's a cliche when people say it takes a village, but that village does not even exist anymore. And the thing is, you and I are both guilty of it, because I swear to you, if one of these neighbors ever thought to discipline one of my children, they would have met the wrath of Brigitte.
That's it.
If you recall, I told the guy I would set his lawn on fire if he even ever deigned to consider to put his hands on one of my children again.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. We've lost, I remember when we could get paddlings in school.
No.
And then parents found out, especially in private schools, it was being abused. So, they were getting whipped while we were angry, getting heads racked together, things like that. And my dad was always yes, you spank him, corporal punishment. And finally, when I got involved in an incident and I didn't say anything because I didn't even know, I was like, okay, well, I did something wrong, so the teacher's mad. The last thing I want to do is tell my dad. Well, all the other kids went home and told their parents, and the parents called my dad.
Right.
And he's like, did this happen? Yes. Were you bad? Nope. Because this was only like 12 or 13. And he could have killed me. The teacher could have killed me. And
it was paddling was available when I was in middle school, but my dad told them, if you put your hands on any one of my kids, you're gonna have to deal with it.
Well, and that's the way I had to become too, because there's no trust. We can't trust, a community. My parents knew if I ran to any house on our block, they would die for me just like they would. Okay. Right. But that's our block. Okay. You did not want to go up against the parents in our block. All right. Once you went outside that block, something was in trouble. You better make it to the magic market. You better make it to the police station, because we knew don't go to anybody else because you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, right.
And, so yeah, the world's changing. The world's a different spot. And I will remind people this. It was funny. And even on the cruise a couple of times, I'd wave at the little kids or something like that. And they'd be like, say hi. And I never said anything in front of them. But I told Gillian, I said, it bothers me. People need to stop and slow down, because you tell your kids all the time, don't talk to strangers. Don't talk to strangers.
And then it's like, say hi.
You're like, you need to shake his hand. Whoa, 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 whoa. Stop and think about it. It's a whole mixed message. So,
And not only that, like, they don't, and that was a conversation you and I were having about, people think that because a cruise ship is a contained area, their children are safe.
Shit.
And
well, so is a prison, but people die there every day.
Well, and that's the thing, look, just because these people and these guests in these areas are nice and personable and pleasant doesn't mean that they're good people, right?
Right.
And it just, it makes you nervous. And I'm always one of those who's like watching the kid, watching, making sure nobody is messing around or whatever. Was it with you? Where were we? Where the guy? Not this cruise, the last cruise. And the guy left the kid sitting at the table and went up to the buffet and got plates.
Yeah.
And just like that 4-year-old kid there all by himself.
And look at what happened at the spa in the hot tub. There were two little girls up there whose parents weren't anywhere around, and there sits me and Mr. Bruce. You're like, what are you thinking? So yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Bruce's conversation. Yes, we did. We had a roommate watch our kids for a few hours. Decades ago. Christopher was probably 4 years old, and we found out while we were out that he popped Chris on the butt, like he whacked Christopher.
Oh,
he was gone the next week.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, no.
Right.
You know, put them in timeout, put them to bed, whatever.
Call me. You know?
Yeah, tell me to come home, whatever it is. But don't, that was a big deal.
Well, and I don't think our parents comprehended. They knew there were bad people out there. I don't think they had any comprehension of how bad it could get.
I don't think they had any comprehension of the fact that it was the guy next door or the house behind you or two houses down.
It's always somebody else's neighborhood.
Yeah, you know, we live in a nice neighborhood. It's, you know, it's not rich, but we're not, you know, we're not super poor. It's not like inner city. It's not the projects. We're not worried about, you know, that kind of violence. I mean, everybody is educated. Everybody's got a job. Everybody's paying their bills. Everybody's kids are clothed and fed. So I don't think that ever occurred to them that, you know, the people 3 houses down had, you know, a kid locked in a room in their basement, chained to a wall. Like that whole thing, or the possibility of that.
Right.
You know, and you know, now you walk out of your house and you look at these people and you're like, what are you doing? You know, I'll see you on the news, you know.
Yeah.
They're going to find a freezer full of body parts in your garage. But, you know, I just don't think it occurred to them that it would be not here, not in this nice middle-class neighborhood, not in this, you know, if you went, you know, downtown or to Washington Shores or whatever, you know, then yes, definitely. Because those people were doing drugs and they were selling drugs.
I think it was a bad thing of my kid's smarter than that. You know, my kid knows better, you know. Well, they do if they see creepy, okay?
Right.
But if they don't see creepy.
Mr. Doyle, who lived right next door, who is inviting you over, you know, because he's got cookies, and your dad and your mom talk to him every day. And he's inviting you over for cookies. And the next thing you know, he's got his hands down, you know.
Right.
Or he whips his thing out or whatever and says, you know, if you say anything, I'll tell your parents you're bad and you'll get your ass whipped, which you would have.
Yeah, because the adult was always
right. Because and it was the neighbor. Why would they? I've known him for however many years we lived here. Why would he lie? Absolutely. So, but yeah, I think, you know, but I do think the reason why there's such a prevalence of depravity is, I think we've been poisoned with so much stuff in our food and our water, and there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. It's just saturated. There's nowhere we could go. Our soil is contaminated. Our water's contaminated. Any food. Bruce left out on the back porch one time. You know, we've got the fridges out on the back porch. And I guess there was a loaf of Wonder Bread in there. And he pulled it out and set it like on the table, one of the tables to bring into the house, and then went off and got sidetracked and did it. Long story short, it sat out on the table for a long period of time, like a month. And because I hardly ever go out back there.
Right.
And he picked it up. It was Wonder Bread. And he, you know, of course he threw it out, but he came into the house and he said, I'm never buying Wonder Bread again. I'm like, why not? He's like, this just sat out in the Florida temperatures for 30 days on this table because I forgot about it, and it hasn't molded at all. There's no mold on it, nothing.
Isn't that the one they found out they're putting the formaldehyde in it or something like that?
I don't know, but I can tell you that we have we have since never purchased. I wouldn't eat Wonder Bread anyway. I hated it.
Right.
I've always been a whole grain bread kind of chick.
I like the autumn grain, butter bread or something like that. But
no, I don't even eat that. The butter bread. Like I'll go to the bakery and buy like the baked loaves, sliced loaves. Like I prefer that kind of bread. Than like Nature's Own or Publix brand or whatever. So, but yeah, he found out. I said, yeah, imagine that. You've been putting that in your body. You think you're digesting that? How do you think you're processing that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Bruce, never buying Wonder Bread again. 5 months, no mold or nothing. Yeah. So good for you. We had a photographer in town that asked me to do some sketchy shit. Mom never knew. She would never have believed me. I never went back. And, and that was a thing too, that I don't think I know our kids don't appreciate that we would listen to them.
Right.
I wouldn't always take just because an adult said it. I missed graduating high school by 3/8 of a credit. Okay. Because me and the chorus teacher had an argument in front of the band. Okay. And he was trying to embarrass the chorus with sight reading, blah, 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 blah. Anyways. All right. He started marking me absent. Failed music appreciation. Okay. And my guidance counselor, he kept marking me absent when I'm there. And I told her, I said, I'm there. He's marking me absent. She didn't want to believe it. Well, the teacher's always right. She sent for me one day in that class after he had turned his roster in. I had been marked absent, but her aide went and got me out of that class. So I'm sitting here, and this is the reason I think people like you and I don't trust the system. Don't, screw that. Doesn't always mean you're protected. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sitting there as a senior in high school going, see, proven. There we are. I said, so what are you going to do about it? Well, there's nothing I really can do. What do you mean? I went home and told my parents. Well, what is the guidance counselor doing about it? So there's nothing we can do. Yeah, it's probably because you weren't there. And I had to go get my GED. And I mean, just if somebody would listen to me. And here was a case where an adult in charge knew what was happening, but didn't want to get involved in the politics. I was just another kid out of 1,1300, however many was at our school, So, yeah. So we grew up twisted in a lot of ways,
Yeah, we did. We did. I mean, I was fortunate enough that my dad was not as much of a stickler as your parents. So, I would, I think just the fact that if I went to him with something was proof enough to him. If I'm going to him, something's wrong.
And that's the way I was. It's something bad. This is like helter skelter, like me going to them for the school. But that was just the last straw. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, if I'd have gone and said, we got somebody over here beating the crap out of, I'll give my dad a good pat on the back for this. When I was in football, one of the coaches made this big speech. He said, you don't need to be telling your parents everything I say or whatnot. And then proceeded to show us how to hurt people getting up from a dog pile.
Right.
How to put them out of the game. Things like that. Just dirty playing. And what did I do? That to me was like, you're going to get some of my friends played for the schools we were playing against. And I'm like, boy, he went in there. I spent 17 years teaching this kid to trust me. And here I've got a teacher telling him, don't go tell me anything, So but on a smaller thing or something, yeah, no, I couldn't. It wasn't worth the effort, you know?
Yeah, I think, yeah, if I just said, if I went, if it was important enough for me to say to him something, he would pay better attention to what I was saying,
Right.
as opposed to, But if he got a phone call from school or something, then that was a different story.
Right.
Then it didn't matter. My ass was in the
Right.
But it happens.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So
I'm hoping we can weather these transits and these things.
We will.
Better.
And I was thinking about this the other day. We keep acting like, life has ended on this planet, 3 or 4 or 5 times already, and it's still here. Meteorites, things like that, all life extinguished, and then it starts over. I just eventually think one day the Earth's going to purge itself. We're all going to go away, and it's just going to start again. It's another cycle. It's, call that thing. So just enjoy today. You got to worry, but,
Cynthia has kids. I don't think we understood how to pick our fights, so I just didn't tell them anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to an extent. I kind of knew. I knew. I knew what was worth, voicing about, and what wasn't. I just, because you just didn't go to my dad with trivial bullshit. Like you just didn't go to him and complain to him.
What'd you do about it?
Yeah, you just didn't. So if I went to him and said, this is fucked up, or this thing happened and it's bullshit, he was more apt to believe me, because I was saying to him, because of the way it bothered me more than anything. So, but, and as far as the Earth shaking us off, as long as I don't feel anything, I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't want it to be, I don't want to suffer. I don't want it to be painful. You want to shake me off, I'm cool. Just,
do it in my sleep.
I don't even have to be in my sleep. I just don't have to know anything. Like 1 minute I'm talking to you and the next minute I'm not. And there was nothing. There was nothing. There was no pain. There was no aneurysm. There was nothing. It was just, I'm here and I'm not. Boom.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. I don't want to be bleeding out of my eyes and my nose and shit. I don't want any of that.
No zombie apocalypse, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to feel anything. No, thank you.
First rule of the apocalypse: cardio.
What's that?
First rule of zombie apocalypse: cardio. You got to be in shape. All you have to do in a zombie apocalypse is be able to run faster than me, and that ain't hard.
Outrun the guy next to you, right?
Yeah, that's it.
No, because at that point I'd be like, you know what? Just do it. Just take a bite and be done with it.
Oh no, don't bite me. I've been bit. No. I don't want to go out being bitten to death, eating a lot. No. I would be the one go, give me the grenades, pull the pin when they get all close. No, we're not.
Blow yourself off, right?
Yeah. No. Being bitten to death through 14 years of police work, seeing too much of that shit. And no. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's pain. I don't want pain. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. But if you ever a zombie apocalypse, you would have firearms anyway. So done.
Well, yeah.
If I got in a position, See ya.
You know where we live.
See ya.
And they don't handle the steps very well, you know?
Zigzag, like we're being chased by an alligator. Zigzag, zigzag, so they can't catch it.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I watch so many memes about people going, who the hell told you that? Run.
Run, they run 30 miles an hour on land.
Yeah, I know. But for very short bursts.
It doesn't matter how short of a burst it is. I can't run 30 miles an hour for any period of time.
Oh, yeah, no.
So
No.
I either need to be able to climb a tree or get on
Well,
top.
and that's where I'm in trouble. Some alligators, they're better at climbing than I am. Just watch the news. You know, oh, that was a 6-foot chain link fence, and over he went.
Yeah, but that's because they can get their little feet to the chain.
Yeah.
They can't climb up the bark of a tree, can they?
Yeah. No. They get hooked into the fence just right, and then that tail, they'll launch off the bottom, what a lot of people don't realize, for food and to eat and to get a bird, you know. So but
you watch Jackass when they're hanging their bodies over the alligator pond. It's crazy. And they're jumping up trying to get them.
well, I told one of my boys, y'all don't have a name for your generation. It's just an alphabet figure. So I won't even, name which one it was. I'm like, you are the Jackass generation. That is all there is. Who walks up on stage and goes, watch me, and staples their testicles to their legs for attention and money? Okay, y'all are idiots.
Hooks their nipples and their
the
battery.
Okay, I'm going to go through the rest of this little talk in my T-Rex position. Oh.
I couldn't even watch them. They would do these things that.
Yeah, I can't.
My kids thought they were the greatest thing. And
I know.
You'd even watch this. This is.
I don't know why Billy died.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's because you were pulling him in a shopping cart behind a pickup truck at 80 miles an hour. With a goalie helmet on. Oh, we're safe now.
A hockey helmet, right?
Yeah. And they won't let them have lawn darts. What the hell? Yeah. You can give them this show.
Right.
I can't give my kid a set of lawn darts.
Right? The kabangers. Do you remember?
Oh, clackers. Man, I can double hand those things.
Yeah, because you would give yourself brain damage, you'd whack yourself in the face, and
I loved clackers. I was really good at them. There's my parents of the air. Woohoo! Glass balls hanging on a string that you smack together.
Mine weren't glass; they were plastic.
Oh no! So see, there's the
they were hard plastic, like bocce ball hard plastic.
And that's because too many kids my age were getting hit in the eye from the shrapnel.
The glass. We were just like breaking our nose and knocking our teeth out and giving ourselves brain damage.
Oh my God.
Because it was like, they were like shoelaces tied to a stick, and you would, and they would go crazy, and you get it, and you just whack yourself in the face with your friend or whatever.
Break a tooth and everything else. The other one, the Easy Bake Oven. Oh yeah, I'll be right there. Did you turn off did you even know that I was playing with the Easy Bake Oven? And at what point, when you smell burning carpet, are you going to check that I unplugged it?
Yep, the Easy Bake.
Oh, let's cook shit under a light bulb.
Not like a halogen light bulb, one that was like the sun.
Oh yeah,
little plastic.
It had to cook those nasty ass cupcakes. It
was like Play-Doh tasting cupcakes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and the lawn darts. because we couldn't just throw them like we should.
Oh, no.
We had to throw them like we're launching a spear at each other.
That's what we would do into the palm trees. You know, like, okay.
We would throw them at each other and have to dodge them. You know, it was like, you know, cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
You got the lawn darts. You just throw them at each other.
Yep. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
so we're reliving our past.
Do you remember Shrinky Dinks?
Huh?
Do you remember Shrinky Dinks?
Yeah.
The big plastic.
And now you got to remember now, some of that stuff was coming out for my kids, you know? So,
you would color them in and then put them in the oven and they shrink down real little. But if you forgot that they were you had like liquid plastic on a cookie sheet. Fun times. Touch that. You can still see the scar on my arm where the melted plastic fell and burned me.
But that was just the rights of our childhood, you know?
Well, but the kicker is, where were my parents when I was playing with the molten plastic?
Well, where were your parents when they bought the lawn darts and said, "Here you go, take them outside"?
It never occurred to them that we would throw them at each other.
Yeah, no.
We would just throw them in the hoop. You got to get them in the hoop. Whoever gets it closest to the middle of the hoop.
Dog's tail. See if you can get it on the run.
Put them in the hoop.
Who's got the fastest dog?
And the other thing was, do you remember the tennis ball on the long string? It was on the pole that had the coil, and you had to hit it back and forth.
Oh, tetherball.
Tetherball.
Yeah, I had one of those.
That tetherball and try and get the other guy in the face, side of the face with it. We didn't care if it got up or down. The goal was how many times could you mash somebody? You'd have that paddle and you'd whack it.
We had no paddle. Ours was it'd wrap around your arm and you get rope burned because everybody's like diving for the ball and you're like,
oh, you didn't have a paddle?
No. It was all just hammered in the original tetherball.
You would do it with your hands?
Yeah.
The little tennis ball?
Oh, no. Ours wasn't a tennis ball. It was about a volleyball size.
Oh, ours was like a little yellow tennis ball.
I know what you're talking about.
And we had like pickleball paddles.
Now I'm going to tell on myself. Because when I went away to college, I learned about racquetball. And this is where I guess some of the stupid started. We played a game called Suicide.
Right. And you'd have to run up to the wall.
Opposite ends of the racquetball. And it was, And if man, those balls were moving, especially all of us young guys at our age. And it was like, oh, that was 120 mile an hour in the head. And I'm wearing my glasses, you know. Dumbass.
We would play stickball. I don't know. Did you have stickball down here? We would play stickball.
No. We actually, we played. I was very fortunate. We were only quarter of a mile down, and we had all back streets to get to the baseball field. That we could actually play baseball.
We would play stickball, and a stickball bat was quite literally a broom handle with duct or electrical tape wrapped around it. It was still like you had it wrapped around where your hands would go, so you didn't get splinters or you didn't get, blisters. And those, do you remember the little pink rubber balls? The little pink ones? They were like this big.
Not that I remember.
And they were rubber. And they hurt if you got hit with them.
Yeah. Did you have Super Balls? Did you have Super Balls?
We had Super Balls, but they were like this big.
Yeah. The first ones that came out were like this. They were damn near baseball size. And we were out there
whacking them at each other.
I mean, nobody's got a baseball glove. Okay. So we're all waiting for this thing to come down to see who's going to catch it. I got it. Oh.
Just sits there. Good times. Beat the shit out of each other. Good, clean fun.
That's it.
It was awful.
Somebody cover that up, because if he goes home, his mom's going to have a cow.
But the thing with stickball was, and I can't remember what you had to do to get the penalty, but if you did something and you trucked it up good enough, you had to stand with your hands against the brick wall, and they would wing the ball at you. And that was like your punishment for whatever it was you did. And I can't remember what you would have to do wrong to get that done.
Right.
But inevitably, somebody always had it done. Yeah. But hold on. Oh, Gillian, the pink one were the handballs. Okay. But yeah, but they would wing those at you hard.
Yeah.
And you would get like beamed with them. And everybody you were playing stickball with had a chance to hit you with the little ball. And that was your punishment.
And thinking about dodgeball, these little dodgeball things they got today, compared to the dodgeballs we played with, that sound. And I saw a couple babies that were like, ball hitting this kid right in the face, and like, remember this sound? Whop! And you go over and be sitting there going, and instead of already going, you okay? They're going, you're out.
You're out. Meanwhile, your nose is freaking guts and blood because you got hit square in the face with the dodgeball.
Yeah. Yep.
Immediately your nose starts bleeding.
Yeah, but we were also the generation of when we did stupid stuff, our parents feel like, well, they won't do that shit again.
Right.
Yeah.
They let us learn. You'll only do it once, and then you'll do it again. One way or another, you'll only do it once, and then you'll never do it again.
That's it.
No.
Yep. All right. Well, we got way off track, then.
We did talking about
but I needed that conversation.
That
was funny. That was funny. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, I'll be back around Monday night at 7:30 again. So y'all come see me over on Tarot with an Attitude. And do us a favor. Send Brigitte for our you can send them to me too. Give us some topics you'd like to hear us talk about, because then it comes down to this being silly. I think a lot of times y'all like to hear me and Brigitte just being silly and having a good old-fashioned conversation. But, if you want us to talk about something, send us an email. If you got our number, shoot us a text. Just an idea, and we may run with it, we may not. Don't take it personal if we don't, and because there's a lot, we look at things from a whole different way, so next week on Beyond the Cards, cannibalism, ritual sacrifice, or no.
Actually, the question is, would you consider at what point would you consider cannibalism? Is it even in your maybes?
I will never say never into any. I don't want to be put in the position, or if for some reason I'm in an airplane in the Alps and it goes down, and Bruce is laying there, and I'm going, dude, in 20 days you're going to start looking really good. Or vice versa, Chris, if I'm dead, eat me. It won't matter. That's the way he would be. But just be like, don't know.
No.
Don't know.
No can do. No, I mean, I'm going to say never, because I have absolutely no trucking clue where people have been. None whatsoever. I just have no idea where you've been or what you've been up to. So
right.
That's a hard no for me.
A hard no, huh?
A hard no. I might eat bugs first.
There you go. There you go. All right.
So there's a topic of discussion. Next week on Beyond the Cards, cannibalism. Yes or no?
Yes. Oh.
And that's not really the topic, guys. Messing around.
Human sacrifice.
Human sacrifice.
Use what's and Bridget with you, it just be now it doesn't matter. He's dead already, so just use whatever's around the house. You've already killed him. All right, so if you've got some mojo seasoning, it's okay. If you don't, this recipe will work.
Whatever you got. There's a lot of seasonings.
Yeah.
You know, salt cleanses everything.
That's it. What is this? Rob jerky.
Rob jerky. Fried Rob toast.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Well,
thank you for putting up with our stuff.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.